what you talked about this, and we did touch on it the other day on the show. You talked about going to prison in that speech, which was awesome, great speech. But I'm assuming you elaborate on it more in the book. First, let me ask you a question. Why have we never? Because I knew that, and I honestly, we never said don't talk about this on the show. You told me the story before when I was just I was feeling bad as like I was having a moment where I was just feeling bad about something, as a dad. I was like, I feel like a shitty dad for this reason or whatever. And you were like, well, look, let me tell you this story. And I knew that, and I just sort of never brought it up on the show because it wasn't something that you really have ever talked about before. But why have you never really talked about spending time in jail before?
Well, I mean, multiple reasons. Number one, because the kids were younger and I didn't want them to know. Number two, because I guess a certain part of me is ashamed of it. You know what I mean? It's not something to be overly proud about. It's not, hey, everyone, I spent time in prison. Aren't I great? Aren't I a badass? No, I look at it the opposite way. It's like, it's something, it was a bad period of my life. But I talked about it on that speech, which wasn't planned. It wasn't planned at all, but it just kind of came out. When I was younger, I was a little shit. I was always getting into fights and things like that. And I kept getting away with it. I kept getting a slap on the wrist. I kept getting a little fine or whatever, things like that. And so you don't learn lessons. You don't learn. Simple as that when you keep getting away with it. And then I got into a fight one night, and you hear all about it in the book. I was sticking up for a friend. My friend got beaten up in the toilet of this bar. I walked in and he was on the floor with 3 dudes kicking the fuck out of him, blood everywhere. So obviously a fight started. Long story. I won't go into it. So anyway, at the end of it, I got arrested, and my solicitor or my lawyer said, if you just plead guilty, Michael, you'll get like a £50 fine, because the charge was public order. The guy that I had the fight with, he hadn't pressed charges. So it was just like, disruption of the peace type thing. So I went to court. Rebecca drove me there in our little car, 7 months pregnant with Callum. She's at the back of the courtroom. I know. She's at the back of the courtroom ready to pop.
Oh, my. By the way, I didn't even know that part of it. I didn't hear that part. It's 7 months pregnant.
7 months pregnant with Callum. We go to the courtroom, and I'm thinking I'm going to go in. It's going to be a quick formality. They're going to say, right, you got £50, £100 fine, whatever it is. Stay out of trouble, Mr. Bisping. And I'm like, yeah. Okay. Thank you, sir. But anyway, I'm sitting there. Rebecca's at the back of the courtroom. And the judge stands up. He says a few words, and then he retires to his chambers to go and, consider the verdict and how, what punishment he's going to give me. And anyway, whilst we're waiting, my lawyer leans over. He says, hey, Michael, just to let you know, normally when security turn up at the back of the courtroom, that means somebody's going to prison. And I'm like, oh, right. Oh, yeah. Oh, interesting. Yeah. And there they are at the back of the courtroom. I'm like, whoa. Hold on a second. You saying I'm going to fucking prison? And he goes, yeah, I think so, Michael. So, of course, I run straight to the back of the courtroom. I go up to Rebecca. I say, fuck's sake, babe, you're not going to believe this. He says I'm going to prison, and I'm always messing around. She's like, yeah, shut up, Mike. I said, no, listen to me, Beck. I'm serious. I'm trying to explain to her. And then at that moment, the judge walks in, so I had to run back to my seat. And then, long story short, sentences me to, it was only a month in prison. But that was horrible.
Was it the full sentence, or was it like was it more than that?
I didn't serve the full sentence, but Rebecca was at the back of the courtroom. She's crying, obviously. She's 7 months pregnant. If you look at it from her perspective, she's got to jump in the car, drive home by herself, 7 months pregnant. I felt like such a piece of shit. And then, they take you downstairs right then and there. It's like you see in movies. They take you down, put me in this little truck with some other criminals, take me to the prison. And when I was sitting there in this holding cell, this big cell with about another 10 people in there, there's a bunch of bloody losers, right? There's a little TV on the wall. There's a football game playing, and there's like people in there, and they're all like, "What you in for, mate? What you in for? Oh, I'm buzzing, man. Hope I can get my old cell back." And all. They were just happy to be there. They were career criminals and all the rest. There was low life scumbags, right? And they were talking to me, and it was at that moment right there. I said to myself, I'm not one of these, this isn't me. I'm better than this, and I made a decision right then and there. So I was like, fuck off, don't talk to me. Got put in this cell, 24-hour day lockup. You went down in the morning for your food. You waited in line. You got your food. You took it back to your cell. You ate it in your cell. They come around, they collect your empty tray. Lunchtime, same thing again. Go get your food, go back to your cell, eat it there. dinner, same thing. You got out the cell once a week for an hour to walk around in a fucking circle.
Why was
crazy,
it,
man?
Max? What was it? I don't understand. Like, so it was for fighting? Was it because it was a violent crime? Was it the
Well, but that's just where they put me. I don't know for what reason it was. But then the guards came around one day to do like a routine search or a random search. And when they came in, they searched the cell and whatnot. And then they said to me, "What are you in for?" And I told them public order. And then he asked me if I'd been in prison before. I said no. And he went, "Well, hold on a minute. You shouldn't really be here. You're definitely a candidate to be transferred." I was like, thank God. Anyway, next day I get moved. I did about 2 weeks in that maximum security place, and that was fucking
Wait, so that was
horrible.
was it an oversight? Like, did somebody just fucked up and put you in the wrong thing? Or
I
somebody was
don't
trying
know
to
why.
fuck you?
No, nobody was trying to fuck me. I just that's where I got put. I don't know, maybe it was overcrowded or whatever, but that's where I was put, and it was fucking miserable. And I was even thinking to myself, if you had 20, 30 years of this shit, I could easily see how someone could fucking kill themselves, because it's no life, trust me.
All right.
Anyway,
How long? All right, good.
No, go on. Ask me a question.
It was. You're having such a great story, and I was going to ask you probably the lowest rent question I could possibly ask in that moment. So I'm just gonna.
Which was?
I was gonna ask you, how long would you have to be in there before you went gay? But don't even answer it. I want you to continue with your really insightful, amazing story. It's touching. I feel bad for even thinking of that.
No, it's okay. I was locked up with somebody though. I was locked up with this little guy.
He had a nice tight ass. What? Tell me.
Listen, I've always liked redheads, okay? I've always liked redheads, and there he was. He's a little guy. He's definitely smaller than me. I walked in, I said, "Listen, I'm having the top bunk. Okay, let's just deal with this right now." No, the guy was in there for arson. So I was locked up with an arsonist, some little guy from Blackburn. And anyway, he was all right. Nice ass. So then eventually they came in and they transferred me to Kirkham, which is an open prison. And it was such a difference, because I went from being locked up and it's like a dungeon in there. Preston Prison is like a real old fashioned, it's like a dungeon, it is. And I got taken out of there and I got taken to what used to be a military base. And basically it was like a holiday camp. You weren't locked up. Right, you could leave anytime you wanted to, but obviously you're going to pay a penalty for that. You're going to maybe go to a more higher secure prison, whatever. Within an hour of being there, I had an ice cream in my hand and I was playing ping pong. Do you know what I mean? It was day and night, and I was like locked up with like accountants and stuff like that, instead of serious criminals and murderers and pedophiles and whatever it is, rapists. I went to locked up with guys that had like a bit of tax evasion and whatnot,
Right.
So it was definitely a lot easier. And then when I
also,
got out,
it's probably good that you went to the harsher one first. In a weird way, it's a blessing. 2 weeks would have been 2 weeks is a long time, but in a weird way, it would have the amount of time you spent. It sort of softened it, because the second 2 weeks you're like, oh shit, this is like way better, like by comparison. Whereas if you never did that, it would have just kind of sucked the whole time throughout.
oh yeah, and then also if I hadn't gone to that like maximum security prison first, maybe I wouldn't have learned the lesson. Maybe I wouldn't have realized.
Like, this is great. No rent for a month. This is awesome.
This isn't that bad. I love ice cream. I'm getting good at ping pong. My artistry skills and my sketching is going through the roof. But I always remember the day I got out. It was so funny. I must have looked like a psychopath, because I got released and I was super excited. Rebecca obviously was still pregnant, and they gave me money to catch the bus home. And I jump on the bus and we're driving home, and we get to Whalley, this little village near to where I'm from, and it stopped at a bus stop. And by the bus stop, there's a newspaper shop, and they sell a bunch of flowers. So I said to the driver, "Can I just jump off real quick, grab a bunch of flowers?" He says, "Yeah, no problem." So I jump off and I get a bunch of flowers for Rebecca. And I'm sitting there and I'm on the bus and I'm really happy and I'm so excited to get home. You know what I mean? And I've got my bunch of flowers, and there's no one else on the bus. And this little old lady gets on the bus and she walks down and she sits opposite me there. And I'm just in such a good mood. I want to talk to somebody. Do you know what I mean? I'm sitting there. I had a shaved head, remember? I was a lot heavier back then. I was a lot bigger. And I'm sitting there probably looking like a demented thug with a skinhead, a big smile on my face and a bunch of flowers. And I turned to the lady and go, "Hi, how you doing? You all right?" And she's like, "Yeah." I said, "I've just got out of prison." And she looked at me like I was just like, "Stop the bus, let me up." I was like, "No, I'm really happy because I've just got out of prison. I'm going to see my pregnant girlfriend, But as I say, looking back and looking at it from her perspective, she probably thought, "Oh my God, I'm with an absolute psycho here."
I had almost the exact same thing happen. I remember one time I was smoking a joint outside of the Eastville Comedy Club when my son's mother was pregnant, and I got taken to central bookings for almost 20 full hours. It was nuts. You know, so I understand. Yeah, me and you really just, you know, same lifestyle, same fucking sort of
so
ups
anyway,
and downs.
So if you want to know about all of it in detail, check it out. Quitters Never Win, coming to a good bookstore near you soon, guys. So anyway, so that's that.